Okay, we got that going. Just a moment.
Welcome to Photography Chat with Merlin. Photography Chat with Merlin.
Welcome to another episode of The Chat. We're season 3, episode 45, and we've got Matthew Burt with us, who's just fresh from work. How's work today?
It's been busy. I moonlight as a loan specialist for a community bank. So
Okay.
we're in the midst of an audit, which is fun.
That does not sound fun. Yeah.
But
I feel like if you
is.
had like a Ron Howard type announcer in your life when you're like, it's fun, he's like, it in fact was not fun.
Yes. Yeah. If I could have a little Arrested Development narration, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Everyone needs a little Ron Howard.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that like a credit union kind of thing then?
No, it's called First Northern Bank of Dixon, California. It's been there about 100 years.
Oh, holy shit.
So yeah, I got into banking back in 2012, I believe, and yeah, I was working for a bank here in the town I live in, and then, as the years go by, things change, and now I'm working for this operation. It's about 35-40 minutes commute away.
What came first, photography or banking?
Photography, by far. Yeah.
So how'd you get into photography?
So I think it was about when I was about 13 or 14, really got into skateboarding. Turns out I wasn't a very good skater. I could do a couple tricks, but I was a little Mongo footed, which some of you skateboarders are on here know what that is, and I couldn't adjust. I remember friends being like, "Why don't you just switch to goofy footed?" And you're still pushing with that left foot. Well, I'm ambidextrous, so my body's all crazy with like what's the more, this hand, or what foot's more powerful than the other, this and that. So I never could adjust. And I think when I was 14, my mom got me a subscription to Transworld Skateboarding. And I had obviously like flipped through the other magazines too. And that kind of just opened my eyes to still photography. Then we had another friend get a video camera. So I was like, yeah, I'll film, I'll shoot, whatever. And then my freshman year of high school, my grandmother actually bought me a camera.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And started shooting, skating, and then got in yearbook, that kind of stuff, within the high school. And it's been a long journey. Yeah.
I'm also Mongo footed, so.
Oh, great. Yeah, I appreciate the fellow Mongos for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I could ollie to save my life right now. Like, just like.
Yeah, like on grass.
Yeah.
I could do it.
Yeah. Totally grass. Yeah. Like, totally could do that. But I'm just a chubby guy that, like, awkwardly rolls around sometimes when I feel like embarrassing the shit out of myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm at with skateboarding nowadays, too. I remember a few years back, one of my girlfriend's nephews got like one of those penny boards. And I was like, oh, yeah, I used to skate, like went to go like step on it and like shot out. And I like kind of felt like I was going to hyperextend my knee. And I was like, I'm out of here. I'm just walking away from this right now.
My niece and nephew are learning how to skate because my little brother is still, he's in much better shape than I am. Because like, unlike me, he actually has like a real job where he has to like physically work his body. And
right.
I'm a slave to like Outlook and PowerPoint. So it's like,
yeah, me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you there. Yeah.
So it's like, the most workout I get is fingers, and like, I got a really bad
Right.
mouse spring on my arm
Yeah.
from like,
Yeah, I got this tennis elbow and carpal tunnel, that really kicks in.
and they're like, Uncle Merlin, Dad says you skate too. When are you going to skate with us? And I'm like, never.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, and that's
like,
kind of how it was with with the guys growing up. Was like I could tell that they were more talented than me, and I was just kind of like, okay, like I'm gonna go off and skate a little bit, kind of either on my own with someone close to my style,
yeah,
and then but in the meantime, like yeah, if you guys want me to like I'll come shoot, I'll do whatever I need to do. So
that's pretty cool. So you did a lot.
Yeah.
Was it like a lot of stills or a lot of video for the skate stuff?
A little. I would actually say ultimately it was probably more video, but yeah, I went through quite a few rolls. I still got a few shots from back then that I hold dear, and I just visited a friend last weekend in Idaho who actually still has all our little 8mm camcorder shot footage. He had boxes of old photos. I was kind of going through those, and I found a couple that I was like, oh, I remember shooting this, or oh, like what happened here. Like he kind of refreshed me on what the situation was. I was actually upset. There was I know we got a video of it, but inside our high school there was a 7 stair on like it was like linoleum or tile or whatever on the inside of the high school, and you can't skate it during class or whatever, but like sometimes they'd forget to lock that hall after school or like during football games. So we snuck in there once, and he kick flipped it, and I shot it. I shot a still of it, and it was super underexposed. And he had the underexposed photo, and I was like, oh man, I haven't seen this photo in years, and I'm still mad. But that was back when I didn't know like aperture or shutter speed very well at all, and it was just kind of just going for it.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was a good trip down memory lane for sure.
Did you grab a few to like scan for prosperity's sake, or
what was that?
Did you get a few to scan for like posterity's sake?
Yeah, I took a few on my phone to just kind of crop them. That there's one that I was actually going to post soon that I shot for my friend, and ended up I was the photo editor of the yearbook our senior year, and I tried to get that photo into the main portion of the yearbook, but I think it just made it on his like parents like menus like senior page thing, kind of like a tribute, like, oh, my son graduated, so that photo ended up there. But I tried to get it like in the main yearbook, and it got voted out. Like, no, you can't have a bunch of skateboard photos in the yearbook. Like, all right,
that's pretty lame.
Yeah, I mean,
damn administration.
I did what I could. I actually the editor of the yearbook and I got into it a few times. She's like, all these pictures are your friends, and I'm like, I kind of get along with everybody at this high school, so.
Yeah, they're all my friends, yo.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm sorry that you think that this person's in the yearbook more than someone that you know. I just shoot the photos as is, and you're asking for candid shots. I'm just walking around school just shooting. So, but that was fun. I mean, I remember it pretty well. It was a good time.
That's awesome. And then, so like after like high school and all that, you kind of kept up with photography, or?
Yeah, I got out of school to describe myself as a scholar would be a little wrong. I was borderline B student. I got out of high school and wasn't really sure what I was doing. I had a part-time job at a local restaurant here and continued to do that. And then about a year later after high school, I got to go to Solano Community College, which is in Fort Fairfield, California. And their photography program I stumbled upon. I was looking to take a photo class just to see what it'd be like. And I hadn't, at that time, hadn't done any film processing or film printing. And they were fully loaded with all that. And I brought a little booklet of just a little album of like 5x7s that over the years that I took to see if I can get in, because I knew the class was full. And the president of that department and professor at the time took a look at it and said, "Hey, do you want to join the pro program?" And I said, "What does that entail?" And he said, "Well, it's 5 days a week and it's 6 hours a day." And I was like, okay. I kind of came here to figure out. I actually was looking to be into like a teaching program to become a teacher. And so I took him up on it. And for the next 2 years, I worked in that photo department and just shot and did projects and developed film and printed film. And it was rewarding because both the professors were great. They were polar opposites of each other. And we had a lot of fun just doing a bunch of different things. But like, as far as my continuation of like becoming a teacher or anything, it just all stopped. I just focused on those classes for 2 years.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of at the beginning of digital photography, I feel, and so we didn't really cover digital very much. I think my last 2 semesters there, we kind of talked more about digital, did some digital projects, but everybody was kind of still like film, and printing, and so we mostly did that.
What was the first kind of digital camera that you got to use?
What did we have? I don't recall what we had in class. I personally got a Nikon D70, which I still have and still use.
Dude, that was my first digital too.
Yeah.
It's still at my ex-wife's house somewhere. But the big bummer with it is it's better at eating memory cards than it is taking pictures now. Because it's like,
oh, right.
The D70s had that thing where eventually they would just start corrupting cards as soon as you put them in. And it like big sad. I was like,
Oh yeah. Like I after I got out of school, I mean, I was kind of like, everybody's trying to figure out what they're going to do with their photography, and that's when digital started to take off. It's the MySpace era.
Dude.
And
fucking MySpace.
I miss it right now. I mean, some of this stuff is just crazy right now. But
we need Tom back. Where is Tom right now? Tom would fix everything.
He's enjoying life, man. I think he takes digital photos now.
Yeah,
like landscapes. Yeah, I thought I heard or saw, internet rumors that are probably true, right?
Dude took all the money and like went on to a fucking mountain and just like was like, Tom was like, "Fuck you all. I was your friends, and then you all like unfriended me, and I got all this money. I'm just gonna go to the fucking mountains now, live my best life."
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. Like he just took off, man. That's great. I would love to do that.
Me too.
But yeah, I was kind of in a flux at that time. Like, it's like, okay, I got to start a digital career. Like, what do I do? And then, it's kind of like figuring out like what's other people doing. Well, I also at the same time, like with skateboarding, kind of with my friend circle, a lot of them started picking up instruments, and we knew a few people that were already in bands. So I started shooting band photography. Started doing that digitally, and at one point I remember someone's band was just like not really keen with my style. Like I was really into like slow shutter speeds and just letting the light of the room kick in and just get some of that blur from like a guitarist or a drummer. Like I was so into that, and I think that was kind of like my downfall. Some of the bands are like, can we just see this clearly, please? And like I was like, nah, this is my style. Like, You
Like,
know,
this is art, man.
yeah, and like I was a Jim Marshall fan, and I was just trying to find that medium, and I never really did. And then after that, I shot a few like friends' weddings, and got hired to do a couple weddings. Couldn't hang, like it was crazy stressful for me. So I kind of actually sat the D70 away, set it down. I stopped shooting photography for like 3 or 4 years. I like would sparingly pick up my camera. Like I was actually physically ill picking up my digital camera.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand the feel of it. It just didn't feel right. And that was a weird time. Like I don't really know how else to describe it other than I physically did not want to take digital photographs. I did a brief stint of working for another photographer, just helping out. He had a gallery here in town, and he was a digital photographer, and he did his best to try to help me out too. And I couldn't do it. And after a few more years, I just got the urge to shoot film again. And I remember my girlfriend's brother and I and her were taking a trip up to Lake Tahoe, or it was Reno actually. And I asked him to grab me, like at the time too, and you can attest to this as well. It's like, where do I find film? It was like 2014, I think. 2014, 2013, something.
Yeah, it was a
in
bit
there.
scarce then.
Yeah, and so I like called around, and there was a camera shop in Sacramento near him, and I said, "Hey, can you just grab me a couple rolls of this?" And he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I took my film cameras. I had Pentax ZX7 and a Pentax P3. That was my grandmother's, and I took them up to Reno and shot some rolls of film, and felt so much better about it. And they weren't even like, some of the photos were great, some were just crap because I was like just getting back into it, and it actually helped propel me into shooting more. And I would say like I officially got more into film and shooting film in 2015.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you still shoot with your grandma's Pentax?
Yes. It still functions. It's are you familiar with the Pentax P3?
I'm not super familiar with the Pentax world, but I think it's really cool when you can use.
It's a hammer. Cameras. Like the shutter is a hammer. It like comes down hard, and sometimes the shutters like get stuck a little bit. But I can't get rid of it. My grandmother's passed quite a few years ago, and I still pull it out every once in a while and shoot with it. It's a good camera.
That's awesome, man. I like that kind of stuff where it has like family history to it.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
One of my favorite cameras to shoot is my mom's old AE1.
Oh, nice.
It's like, I think she got it in 1978. So it's a couple of years older than I am. And it's never had a CLA.
Oh, wow.
And it still works, knock on wood, perfectly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I got a AE1 as well. And it was a gift from a friend of mine here in my town, and it was his father's, who passed away, and he's like, "Hey, I don't know what to do with this. I thought maybe you might be able to use it." And I currently shoot with that as well. It's great. It's a good camera to have.
That's rad. So, like, What's your go-to camera now?
I'd have to say my Olympus XA2. Yeah, it hasn't let me down, and it's quick to use, easy to take places. If you see on my feed, there's a few like concerts that I've been to. It's easy to get into those concerts. Like, I went to a concert recently, and it was taken out. The security guy kind of looked at it funny. I was like, "It's a film camera," and he's like, "Oh, all right." Just let me in. So, that camera's been sensational for me. I have a Canon QL, Canon QL or CL17G3. I can never get it right, but yeah, I that's a newer addition to my bag, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, that's like the rangefinder one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool, the QLs.
Yeah. I've shot a few rolls with it so far, and I've been very happy with the results. So it's been nice. But yeah, those 3 cameras are probably the ones I keep in my bag the most. And I have a few like other oldies that I have lying around that are just sparingly used. And I'm looking to upgrade and get a medium format at some point. I had a Pentax 6.7 from a photographer upriver from here, and it the shutter stuck and it's done.
Oh, you can't get it repaired?
I've looked at repairs. I even tried to repair it myself, and down that rabbit hole was not easy. And the consensus was, it might be cheaper or more beneficial just to buy another medium format camera.
That's fair.
And it's a pretty beat up 6.7. So I'd like to get like a Mamiya C330 or something like that.
I have a C33 that I might be twisted into selling.
Okay. We might have to talk later about that.
I haven't used it for a really long time. I bought it off of this dude in Toronto, and it was like we always had Bronica SQA. Those are fucking dope.
Oh yeah,
too.
Eric just mentioned that too. In the chat there. I've heard good things. I haven't shot one.
Dude, okay. That's my all-time favorite medium format camera is the SQA series. You can't go wrong with any of them. And actually, another guy on here, Ryan, aka Slooch, he's been buying up all of these like cheap SQAMs from fucking Japan because they have like the built-in motor drive. Here, just a sec. I'll grab it so you can see it.
Okay. All right.
So everybody wants all of the ones that don't have the built-in motor drive, so they are all insanely expensive right now. But apparently on the Japanese market, you can get the SQAM, which has a built-in motor drive, and they're like, I think he's picking them up for like $250 or something like that.
Oh, rad!
Yeah, and so it's just like it's because it's got this like built-in motor drive that you can't remove. Yeah. But if you don't mind having that on there, then you can get into a really cheap SQA. And it uses the same lenses as all the rest of them. Like get the 80 mil with it, and like the 80 mil is super dope. Yeah, it's like all-time favorite camera. And the flappy shutter noise that it makes because of the mirror slap on it is just like is so satisfying. Like it's,
oh man, I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
but they are also sons of bitches. Like I love my Bronica, but I also hate it because it's just like a dirty bastard to me sometimes. Like I haven't tried this one yet. I just got this one and I haven't had a chance to get it all like tuned up. But like my SQAI is just like such an asshole sometimes because it'll work and I'll take a few shots and then it'll be like, nah, we're not going to do that now. We're done. We're done shooting. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, kind of like trying to figure out why the shutter's not working. And then it'll be like, pa-plow. And I'm like, well, I didn't want you to take a shot now. Like, what the fuck, man? And so it's like, they're very, they have a lot of personality.
Okay.
But the Seiko,
I like that.
the Seiko glass, man, like it's the Japanese glass that they make on them is amazing. Like, yeah, if you're looking in the medium format world, like the such a nice camera.
Okay.
And a great system. Yeah. Eric's
Oh, man,
totally on point with
I
that.
appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate the tips from Eric and from you too, because like I said, I had that 6.7 and I only shot so many rolls out of it before one could put on me, and still have a pretty good size amount of medium format film that's just, refrigerating, and I'd like to shoot it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got way too much. When the Pro 400H was on its way out,
Oh, right. Yeah.
the local camera store here in Vancouver was selling it for like $9 a roll. And I was like,
nice.
I hate Fuji. Like, I'm not a huge fan of it. But I was like, for $9 a roll, I can learn to love Fuji.
Right.
Because I was like, I'm getting 2 rolls for the price of a Kodak, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think we've all been kind of making those sacrifices with the Kodak thing going on. So,
yeah,
I think I recently bought some Fuji 35. I'm also not a big Fuji person. So again, like you said, you got to learn to love it. So
exactly.
Kind of what I've been doing.
The love is still deep and wide, Tim. Forgive us for our transgressions.
Yeah.
Transgressions.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, medium format is so fun. And then I've recently got suckered into the world of large format as well.
I have a speed graphic that my dad found for me on accident. And it's in my closet in the back because I'm scared of it. And I've heard everybody I've told this to, they're like, oh, once you get into it, it's so easy. Like, you're going to love it. And I haven't decided to jump into that yet.
I think the speed graphic is like the friendliest of them that you can get into.
Okay.
Because, I had a speed graphic and I really liked it. Like, it was pretty cool. Like, the one that I had, it had a built-in rangefinder, which actually worked.
Yeah, this one does too. Yeah.
And so it's like you could run and gun with it, which was super fucking weird to me. The idea of just being able to, like, fucking.
Yeah, I agree.
It seems so counterintuitive.
Big old camera.
Yeah, I ended up selling it though because I got a Wista 4x5 and just ended up liking the Wista a lot more. And then recently just got an 8x10, and you have to hate money to want to get into film photography.
So, like, all my hobbies cost me a lot of money. Like, so during the pandemic, I was like, oh, like, there's a good chance I'm going to work from home. Like, this is a good time to learn guitar. Bought a guitar.
What kind of guitar did you buy?
I bought a Telecaster.
Ooh.
It's butterscotch, and I love it, but I don't get to play it very much because I was essential, so I still had to go to work every single day.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I just thought, like, oh, I could, do this while I'm working from home. So I have that expensive hobby, trying to learn that. And then I also like to golf on occasions. Golf is expensive if you're not, a preppy country club member. So, I like things that I kind of get to take my patience with and, think through. Photography is definitely one of them. So, I guess that's kind of what I'm interested in outside of, my daily life, I guess.
That's cool. Dude, Telecasters, some of the most beautiful guitars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I have a couple musician friends and was kind of asking them, like, oh, what do you think I should get? One of which is like a really good musician, and he's like, look, if you're just starting out, like, just get a Telecaster, you'll be fine. And I was like, all right, great. And that's what I was eyeing anyway, so I was excited that he said that. I couldn't help but notice you're wearing a No Effects t-shirt.
I am, yeah.
Correct. Good choice.
Thank you. I got it from their Punk and Drublick tour that they just had here in
oh, nice.
Abbotsford, which was kind of hilarious because it's the last time that they will play in Canada until Fat Mike needs money again.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're like, we're breaking up the band. And I'm like, yeah, just until one of you guys needs money.
Yeah, that's exactly how I thought of how I got the news too. Was like, oh, they're doing this. Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. I mean, it seems like a lot of bands are that way too. Even the classic rock bands. Like,
Yeah,
this is the farewell tour times 3.
exactly. You know, it's like how many times have like fucking Rolling Stones or whatever like broken up or like whatever. All those old
Right.
dudes, they're like, oh, this is the
Yeah.
last time. And it's like,
Yeah.
how much more can we get from the last time tour on this one?
Yeah, exactly.
But it was fucking hilarious because Fat Mike was really ruthless to the crowd in
Oh,
like
wow.
a very disparaging way
Oh,
because they didn't actually play in Vancouver.
okay.
They played in Abbotsford, which is like an hour or so away from Vancouver, kind of like Hicksville-ish, like a lot of farms out there, and it gets a little red out there.
Oh,
you know.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he took advantage of that, I take it.
Oh, he just shat all over it. You know, he
Nice.
like immediately when they got on stage, he was just like, so we landed here last night and I phoned my like tour manager. I'm like, what the fuck is an Abbotsford, asshole? Like, why couldn't you get us a thing in Vancouver? It's like, it's gonna this place looks like it's filled with a bunch of inbred fucking hicks. And like he's like, whatever. This is the last show we're playing in Canada. You can't fucking cancel us. We're never coming back.
Yeah. that sounds about right. Yeah, that's great. I love that.
They weren't as terrible as I've seen on other videos of them being live, but the Descendants were fucking amazing. Like,
oh, nice.
Oh, those
I
guys.
forgot. Yeah, they were on that bill too. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, it was Pup, who's from Toronto. I like them a lot. The Descendants, the Voodoo Glow Skulls.
Nice.
Fuck, why am I blanking out on the other ones? I can't remember the other ones. I always
Travis, I think they're coming to SAC, by the way, at some point.
Well, they're going to do
Sacramento.
one last tour in the States with Bad Religion.
Right.
Which I find hilarious because like both of those bands have been like, we hate each other, but it's like we're secretly your best friends.
Yeah, every time I think I've seen Bad Religion 4 times. 2 out of those 4, Fat Mike's come out on stage and sung with Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of them, NoFX, wasn't even on that tour. They were just there.
Yeah, they're like homies, but then like, when they get a chance, they'll shit on each other publicly.
Yeah,
and be
right.
like, oh, yeah, Fat Mike sucks, and it's like Greg Graffin's dick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll definitely be able to see that. Dude, Voodoo Glow Skulls was holy fuck. Like,
yeah,
I've loved
I
them.
haven't got to see them live, but
dude, if you get a chance to see them live, like, I like started listening to them in like, I think like 96 or something when I was still in high school. And like, man, to hear them play like the band Geek Mafia live and stuff like that, I was just like, this is the fucking best.
That's awesome. That's so great.
And the lead singer was just as wild as I thought he would be. Like, he had a wireless mic and he fucking did a whole lap around the crowd while just like singing and rocking out. And in his like huge like headdress mask and stuff, and like and the Descendants were super tight. Like I think they were best in the show easily that day.
That's cool, man.
It was a fun show. It was well worth being around all of the anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, you're gonna to see. I love going to shows. I like. Music's a big part of my life too, so are you familiar with Canada's own Death from Above?
Yes.
1979? Yeah, that was the last show I went to, and man, they ripped. It was so great. And they had an opener, the OBGMs.
I've never heard of them.
And they're from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which made me laugh because they were kind of hyping up the crowd and just talking about themselves a little bit. And, they always made it a point to say, we're from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I thought that was some nice Canadian humor. It made me laugh anyway. And, they were they just like went after it. Like they're younger, probably all in their 20s, and they just jumped in, and like it really was electric. I could see why Death from Above was happy to have them on tour, because they got the crowd like up, and then here comes Death from Above to kind of drop the hammer after that. And yeah, it was a great show.
That sounds amazing. Toronto's a cool place. I miss it a lot. Americans say Toronto differently, though.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, you emphasize the toe, because it's like Toronto.
Yeah,
and we're like Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah, it's like I was just in Toronto.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It was kind of like the first time I met Jason in Boston. He like exaggerated the Toronto every time. He's like, Merlin from Toronto, and it's like, is this a game show or something?
Might be a SoCal thing too.
Oh, could be.
Bust out the O at the end of everything, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
I haven't had a chance to get to the Great White North yet. I hope to.
Dude,
I'd love to come up there.
If you ever come up to Vancouver, let me know. Be happy to show you.
I've heard great things of Vancouver, so I definitely like to go there. Montreal interests me too.
Dude, Montreal.
Not really sure why, but
because it's like probably the raddest city in Canada, honestly. There's a really interesting vibe about it, in part because it's like fucking old as shit. Like Quebec.
I find that cool too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Quebec is like the oldest part of Canada. Like that in the Maritimes, are because that was where all the people first came to.
Right.
It was like that in the Maritimes. So it's like Montreal's still a little younger than Quebec City, but like not by much. And then Toronto and Ottawa are like, the second oldest compared to like that. So Montreal looks really fucking cool because of that, because it's just got all this old architecture and stuff there. And it's just super metropolitan. Like, you just see all these like crazy outfits and like interesting personalities and everything.
Nice.
And then the food. Holy shit. There's just like so much good food.
Well, I was interested in it before. I mean, also a big baseball fan, so I still miss the Montreal Expos, even though I was quite a kid when they were around and then left. But I always liked their logo, and
it was a cool logo.
And then when Anthony Bourdain had Parts Unknown, and he did his Montreal and Quebec episode, that's like my favorite episode, and I was just like, I gotta go there one day. It just seems so rad.
Dude, Walensky's is better than he even made it seem like in the show.
I know, he kind of made it seem like just a little slot, like, oh, I'm just going to grab this little sandwich. And
I don't think he wanted people to know like how rad it really is. Like,
probably.
Those little sandwiches are some of like the happiest things I've shoved in my mouth. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
It's, there's something really magical about that place, because it's been in the family for like decades upon decades, and only family members are allowed to work there. So there's like no outsiders.
That's awesome.
And it looks like original to like the 1920s, basically. Like even when you go to use the washroom, it was like an outhouse room that they just put a toilet into. Like it's all super old, and they have really interesting rules with it, because they're almost like sandwich Nazis or something. So if you order 2 sandwiches, they'll only serve you one at a time, because they don't want you to eat a cold sandwich.
Oh.
So it's like,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So when you're getting close to near the end of your sandwich, they'll be like, are you ready for the second one? And they'll be like, okay, they'll start making it. But they like, if you're like halfway through it, they're like, no, it's not right. It's not time yet. Because it'll get cold. Like, and they do like the handmade sodas and stuff. And it's a really cool experience. And you just sit at these little like bars, and like it feels like walking into a time capsule.
That's awesome.
It's a really amazing place.
Like that.
Yeah, and then
I like to just shoot some rolls up there too. I mean, just in general, I feel like documenting Montreal would be a lot of fun.
Oh, dude, it's such a cool city to shoot just because like the old buildings and the people are so interesting and fascinating. And
Yeah,
like all the folks at Walensky's, they were interesting. They let me shoot a roll of them one day,
nice.
just kind of like working away. And they're like, "Oh, why do you want these pictures?" And I'm like, "Oh, you guys seem important. Like this place is important, and it would be kind of cool." So I shot some black and white things like Tri-X, and
Hmm.
some of my favorite photos, like,
That's awesome.
because it's just like the pride that they have working there. You don't really see that a lot
Right.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of places in Montreal are
Oh
like
yeah.
that. And then if you go like find a place that has like a kitchen, there's that. Oh fuck, what is the market called? The Atwater. I can't remember. There's like like an open air market that you can go to that
Okay.
has like all this amazing
Yeah.
shit. So you can go like get
That's cool.
yourself, yeah, and then like so many cool cocktail joints, and yeah, it's a very vibrant city, and like it's
That's
not
awesome.
unfriendly to non-French people. Like some people will be dicks to you about it, but like,
Right.
you can
Yeah.
go there and not speak any French and like, get through a trip pretty good. If you go to Quebec City, you might come up with a little bit more friction than you would
Yeah.
there.
Might need to bring a French Canadian with me.
Yeah, just to smooth it over a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
When I was
Toronto
in
is just
Idaho,
cool.
when I was in Idaho last weekend, we were told not to use the C word when discussing where we're from. They don't like Californians. So
Oh,
I was like, unless it came up, like we took a couple Ubers to a couple places, and our friend, they would like just chit chatting with the driver or whatever. And I was kind of like, I was just kind of sitting there just listening or whatever. And then he'd be like, oh, they're from, like the C word. And he'd be like, oh, like kind of give you some crap about it. But I mean, it's all playful, but it was just like, yeah, no, you guys are leaving, right? And we're like, yeah, no, we go back home. And they're like, okay, good. Like, oh, all right.
wow.
Yeah.
Fucking Idaho.
Yeah.
What were you in Idaho for?
So my good buddy Kurt lives out there. He's a geology professor at Idaho State University, and so he's like I grew up with him. I got skate photos of him, skate footage, more photos, and we've been through a lot. And he kind of has been all over the country with his geology career, and every single time he invites me, and every single year I don't get a chance to go. So this time around, we planned it out good, and he's like, "Let's set it up, like get you out here." Another friend of his, a friend of mine too, flew out from San Diego, and three of us got to hang out and jam some music. And actually, what was funny was he busted out the old photos and the box of videos and stuff, like just to kind of go through. And he's like, "Oh wait, I got one more box. I got a box of cameras for you to go through." Like, all right,
Oh,
cool.
cool.
So he pulls out this box, and there was a pretty decent Polaroid Spectra in there. I already have one, so I was like, oh, that's cool to have. I mean, if you get the Spectra film, it's fun to shoot. And so I kind of put that one aside and was going through it, and then there was a Canonet in there, and I was like, oh, this is great. I have one of these on me right now. And he's like, oh, you have one of these? I was like, yeah. And so he kind of picked it up, and he's kind of tinkering with it. He's like, this is pretty cool. And I was like, yeah. Like, and then, of course, too, there was rolls of unshot film in this box, all Kodak. So I grabbed, I think there was 5 rolls that were unshot. And so I was like, yeah, I'm taking this. and then there was one other roll in there, and he's like, he asked me how to open the Canonet, and so I showed him, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then film goes in like this, right? Like he could remember a little bit, because he had a lot of photos he shot too, but I mean, he's not, a photographer or anything like that. He just, like, he used to use the, back in high school, he used the Kodak Advantex system.
Okay, yeah.
He loved that thing. Like, he'd be like all over it. He had a little point and shoot, like shoving the Advantex in, like, all the time. So that was like his thing. And So like he stuck the roll in, and then he's like, "Oh, check me out! I'm an analog photographer now," and like put the Canon around his neck. And I was like, "Dude, you're gonna shoot that roll the rest of the weekend." He's like, "All right, yeah, sure." So like the rest of the weekend, like we did some, he showed me around the town and shot some film there, and he'd be like, "Oh, like, is this cool? Like where I'm at, like exposure wise, aperture wise, whatever." And I'd be like, "Oh, do this or whatever." And so I have his roll when I get these other rolls shot and process. I'm gonna throw his roll in, see how it comes out. So that was fun.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, anytime anybody has like an interest in film photography that's around me, like I'm gonna go like nerd out on them. Like it's like, "Oh, you really want to learn? Like, let me help you out. Teach you what I can teach you, and hope for the best." I always try to, I don't want to like bash digital photography in any way. Like I'd like to upgrade my digital equipment one day. But if you're interested in shooting film, I'm like, yeah, that's what you want to do because it's the best.
Yeah, it is. I like film a lot. It's not that it's better than digital. It just has a different feeling and vibe to it.
Yeah, that's it for me. It's like just that extra little tangibility of it, having a process roll and doing all that is just fun to me. And I think you were talking about the Bronchia sounds, like the sounds of analog cameras are just fantastic. So
that's a thing. It's like, it's not only the way the image comes out after you get it processed, but it's also like the process of making the image, like the feeling, the sounds, sometimes even the smells. Like some of those old cameras have like a smell to them.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's like a really visceral experience when you're shooting with an old film camera versus a digital that just smells like plastic and kind of feels like sticky.
Yeah. I agree, because like you said, there's so much into it. Like all the senses, it seems like, are used when you're shooting film. I think digital cameras have made advancements to kind of like maybe entice film shooters to buy. Like I think the Fuji series, they're beautiful looking.
So
I don't know much about them, but I think they're beautiful cameras.
I hate Fuji with like a epic burning passion for like,
that's cool.
But all my digital cameras now are Fuji.
There you go. I shot with a Sony A7 II, my girlfriend's sister owns, and that was the first time like really shooting with a digital camera that like I was putting a lot of purpose into, I guess would be the best way to put it. And I was blown away. I was like, "Oh, this is where we're at digitally now. Like, this is great."
My friend who's also
another
like
good camera,
all about the Bronicas, he has a huge A7 fetish right now, and like the only complaint he has is that the menu system is like using a handy cam from the like 90s.
Oh yeah, I'll agree with them.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
The Fujis though, like, fuck. I really didn't want to like them, and I had like friends for years were like, "Just try Fuji, man." I'm like, "Nah, fuck Fuji. I hate them." And like, "Just try it." I'm like, "Fuck you, man. Never gonna try it." And then I tried one, and I'm like, "This is really good."
Yeah. I mean, I still am upset with Fuji over pack film.
That's why I hate them.
Because they made what, three of the best? Because the silk and just the regular.
Well, and they were the last ones producing pack film so that we could still use our cameras, and it wasn't that it was not profitable. They were still turning a wicked profit on it. It was just the cosmetics were more profitable. And
and now we're stuck with, I know tons of film photographers and whoever's still listening that we all have land cameras and they're just sitting. And
like
they're fantastic cameras to use.
They're beautiful cameras. Like I've
Yeah.
got two 190s now, and I'm just like, when I run out of pack film, you guys are just gonna be relics.
At least
So-
you have packs. I'm the kind of person that like I buy the film and I let it sit for a while and then I get really antsy and I'm like, I gotta shoot it. I shoot it all.
I've shot a bit of it, so I'm going through and I'm picking the oldest stuff, and I'll like shoot the oldest stuff, and like I've got a bunch of 2018 that I've been like sitting
Nice.
on. Yeah, and then at Policon I shot some of this 669 that just
Oh right.
it was so nice, like just the nicest. And then there was this pack of random black and white. I have no idea what it was. A Polaroid black and white. It was like a Polapan of some sort, but it didn't say what kind. The first three shots were janky, like the spreads weren't right, but
Right.
the tones of the black and white looked really good. And then the fourth one, it was almost like a tears moment. Like it just looked
Oh, wow.
so nice.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking beautiful. And
That's awesome.
like the rest of them just came out, except it was weird. There was like this weird film that was on a couple of them that I had to kind of like pick off.
Huh.
But yeah, pack film is something special. Have you heard of
That's so cool. You got to go to that too, by the way.
dude? Come next year,
Yeah.
or come to Bay
I need-
Area. That might be easier.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. It's usually in March. The
Yes.
year I was actually gonna go, the pandemic shut everything. Like it was the day of like everybody's like, oh, we're shut down now. I was like, oh,
Damn.
so didn't make it, but I'm definitely gonna come to this one, and then I'd like to get out to Denton and check that
Denton's so much
that one
fun.
out.
I love it there. It's a cool experience. Like the whole Policon thing is super cool, but yeah, Denton's just pretty cool in itself.
Nice.
Have you heard of the New Land thing? The one where they're working on the 600 back for the land cameras?
No, I don't think so.
The guy kickstarted it.
Okay.
I went in on it, so like, there's
Oh, nice.
a probability that my money just got stolen, but
Yeah. I mean,
if it didn't get stolen,
I've done that too.
yeah, exactly. If it didn't get stolen, hopefully sometime next year, I'm gonna get a 600 back for one of my land cameras.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which would be super cool. So it's like
Yeah.
one of my 190s. I'm gonna like hack it onto and see
Yeah,
how it
that's
goes.
great. I'll have to keep an eye on that then. Look that up. And
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'll
that's-
definitely probably post something about it if it ever shows
Sweet.
up in my life.
Nice.
But yeah, Eric is saying here I used to get 3000 B for $9 a pack of freestyle.
Wow, man. Jeez. Oh, the good old days.
Yeah,
I know he was mentioning, and Jason's mentioned it too. Like back then, they would just go in and just buy them out, just keep it stocked and shooting. I was like, man, that's incredible. Like to be able to do that now is impossible. So
yeah, unless you find someone that's like, selling off some stock. and
had I
beat
won the
Brooklyn Film
Powerball,
Camera.
I mean, I tried to win the Powerball. It was like $1 billion here in the States. So like I tried to win, but then I was just gonna be like, hey, Brooklyn Camera Company or whatever it's called, give me all those boxes you got, but I didn't win. So
That's fair. You'd need to win the lottery to buy all of that from them.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
It might not be enough. Like,
It probably they'd be like, oh, we raised the price on that.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you want to? It's like $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry.
They're just such an easy target, and I feel bad about it now because Ben's there, and I like Ben a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope he can help turn that ship around a little bit for them.
Yeah, me too. I agree. It's just, I know it's tough. I really thought when Polaroid was, what was it before? Was it Instant Project or
Impossible, yeah.
Impossible Project? Like I thought when they finally did get their money together to purchase the rest of Polaroid, I was like, okay, this could be a good thing. And then, you know, in a lot of ways it is, but in other ways it's like, where's this film, or what are you guys doing here? Like, why is this so much more than this?
Well, you're not stoked on the Bluetooth speakers. I kid. Polaroid, don't hate me.
No, that came out, and I was like, my immediate reaction was, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I was like, wait a second, like, what am I doing here? Like, just because I like the Polaroid, you know, logos and stuff like that, like, I already have a Bluetooth. I don't need.
See, though, but the first response you had, that's what they were banking on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's marketing. That's how that works.
It is. Everyone's like, what is it going to be? And I'm like, well, they said music in full color. It's probably going to be a Bluetooth speaker. And they're like, nah, they wouldn't do that
you were
to
on
us.
top of it, huh?
Nice. Yeah. It makes sense because, like, they licensed so many random Chinese manufacturers to make Polaroid branded Bluetooth speakers. So it'd be in their best interests to kill off all of that licensing and make their own to reap those profits themselves.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Hopefully it translates into money for film. Sorry, you remember what?
Yeah. Hopefully. I remember quite a few years ago, like, ironically, buying a Polaroid t-shirt at the Target. This was like, I don't know, 2008 or 9 or something. And then, like, thinking about that now is like funny to me, because then next thing you know, boom, here comes this resurgence of film photography, and we're all like, oh, Polaroids, and shooting Polaroids and film and all this stuff. And like, I had this stupid t-shirt from Target because I was like, oh yeah, Polaroids. Oh, that's funny. That doesn't happen anymore. And then
it came back.
Everything all comes back around, man. It's crazy.
I mean, that's the craziest thing I've learned of like all the time I've spent spinning around the planet, is that, like, everything tends to repeat itself eventually.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And some of it's great, some of it's not so much. But yeah, it's kind of fun to see certain trends come back. And, you know, like I mentioned, this is, you know, film is back taking off, and, you know, I see posts now and tweets and things of, like, people like, oh, I just found this at Target. It's like a 4-pack of Kodak Ultramax, and I'm just like, oh, that's back at Target. Look at that. So
are the people that get the crazy deals where it's like, I found this, like, 3-pack of Fuji for like $4 because they're like, yeah, and I'm like, where, how are you? What? It's I want some cheap film. Hook me up with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss it being affordable for sure. Especially the Kodak products. My main go-to film is still for the ep5, and I'm still not upset with the price range it's in. So that'll always be my favorite film, I think.
I like ep5, but I got a mad soft spot for Tri-X. Like,
yeah, it's funny too, and this is cool talking to you about this. I shot a lot of Tri-X late high school and in college too. But of course in college we were printing on Ilford paper. Not that I guess it makes some difference for some people. I don't know. But I was like on the fence with how my Tri-X was coming out. Like, I thought it was getting two black tones in it, like darker images. And then so yeah, I think one of my professors said he's like, here, try this ep5, and I shot it and I was happy with it. And then I kind of went back and forth on the two. Like, I would shoot one, then I'd shoot the other, and then I'd shoot one, and then I'd shoot the other. And then at some point I just was like, I think I'm gonna go with the ep5. So that's kind of where I'm at. Last time I shot a roll of Tri-X, I went to Detroit to a Michigan football game and Detroit Lions and 49ers football game. So that was a fun experience for me. And I had one of my cameras with me was with Triax, the other one with Ilford, and I it'd been a long time since I saw Triax, and I kind of like double taked on the images. I was like, oh, that Triax looks really good, and then I go back to ep5, like, and then just kind of compare. And, it's Triax has it has a lot. Like it gives you some moments for sure.
It does, yeah. It's got a nice mood to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That I agree with. Like it's good for if you're trying to set a tone or emotional image, like powerful image. I think Triax is a good film to use for that.
No, I was just chuckling because Eric wrote Detroit, Greektown, what up? And then Janice says that she was the lone ep5 shooter in her class. She liked the grain.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love the grain of ep5 too. That's one of my.
When I want to get mad grainy, I really love T-Max 3200.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh man, I haven't shot that in a long time.
The grain is like gravel.
Yeah. Super heavy.
It's so nice though when you're like when you want to shoot something really moody, like for nighttime stuff, like any of the nighttime stuff I've shot with it, I've immediately loved. Like it's just so good.
I had a friend of mine. I shot. It was random. It wasn't like I was shooting. We were over at their house having a house party and playing music and that kind of stuff. And I stood out into their street and took a shot of the house, like everybody was out on their porch, drinking and smoking and just conversing. So I just wanted to capture that, and I shot it on that. And they still have it hung in their other house. They moved out of that house years ago, and they're still like, we still love this image. And I was like, that's great. Like that's what it was. That was the purpose. Was like, oh, I'm gonna get this shot. And going to look cool with that grain. And I remember printing it, and I was like, oh, this is great.
That's super cool. I had a question about our city. So that was how I first came across you, was the Extraordinary video. And there's so many rad photographers that were in that that show. Eric in here, one of them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
my guy.
His segment in it, I think, is my favorite one. I love the way he interacts with all the people.
By far. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I struggle with portraiture and photographing people. I can talk to people. Like I got this great compliment from a coworker the other day. She's like, "You really can just talk to anybody." Not like, she was saying in a positive way. Like you can really just relate to people and talk to them. And I guess it's just years of customer service beat me down, and so now I can just talk to people. But yeah, when I get behind a camera, I'm super nervous to like really get what I'm looking for, I guess, out of that person. Like I'm always afraid to, like, street photography wise, like Eric's like his part like is amazing because
just the confidence.
I'm like, I can't. I don't know if I could do that. I'd be like, oh, please don't hurt me, or something like that.
I think my favorite line was when he's like, "Hey, gorgeous, you want a portrait?"
Right. Yeah.
Just like seeing the lady light up and like, totally.
Yeah. Like he knew exactly the right words to use in that moment. That's great. I remember walking with him in downtown LA once, and like he was using a land camera, and there was a vendor pushing with like popsicles and pushing cart or whatever, and the guy I think was reaching for popsicle or something, and he went and shot the photo, and the guy got kind of like angry a little bit. I don't know if he like reached for Eric, but like he was like definitely a little angry, and Eric just looked at him and ripped the the peel part out like, yeah, I took that, and like we just kept walking. I was just like, damn, I had to be in a certain mood to do that. Like that was awesome.
That's amazing. Like,
yeah,
I love hearing stories like that. Like that's
it was great. I think it was like the first time I was actually walking. Like, you showing me downtown. Like I hadn't really photograph downtown LA very much, and I think that was like the first time I actually met him in person. And I was just like, this guy knows what's up.
Yeah, you're like, this guy fucks.
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you get involved with the whole Our City project?
Oh man, so yeah, this is first off, I actually wanted to mention this before we even got started, but like what you're doing for the film community is amazing.
Thanks, man.
This is so cool. Not my wildest dreams that I think photography would get me to this point. A few years back, I told myself, just let this grow organically, don't force it. And it's been great. And that kind of leads me to your question. I joined Instagram in 2015, 2016. I can't really remember. At that time, I was just like, I think I was still using like Hipstamatic and taking like iPhone shots, and then kind of just like shooting film a little bit too. And then I kind of started noticing, there's film photographers on here. Like, oh, this is cool. So start following more, and then I started posting more of my film stuff, getting more connected within the community, and then Jason Lee joined Instagram, and I met Jason in 2004 when Stereo was re-released. They had a small gallery showing in San Francisco. I remember going. I wasn't 21 at the time. I was 21 and up, and I was freaking out because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get in this thing. I was sitting on the curb in San Francisco, and then here comes this tall, lengthy Jason Lee. Just stands right next to me as I'm sitting on the curb. I got my head down like, oh, man, I'm going to get this thing. And I look up, and I'm like, oh, it's Jason Lee. And, like, it really, like, you kind of just freeze. And so then I just, like, shook it off and popped up and said, hey, I'm Matt. He said, hey, I'm Jason. I'm like, I know. And then he's like, well, you coming in? And I just was like, yeah. And I just followed him in, and nobody carded me or anything. So ever since then, he was showing photos of like Beck and a few other images that I really liked. So kind of like mingled around the party, and then ever since I was like, all right, like, I mean, I really know Jason Lee, the actor. So I was like, yeah, I'm just kind of keep an eye out if he's like a photographer. Like, I want to keep watching this because this stuff speaks to me. And then he joined Instagram. I followed him immediately, and was just just being who I am, which is like, if you're showing good stuff, I want to support you. Just nice comments and likes and stuff like that. And then one day he messaged me and just said, hey, I really appreciate your comments and this and that. And I said, yeah, man, it's great work. It motivates me. And then he followed me back, and then as that kind of goes, like, I was following people that he was following, and Eric being one of those people, and they put together Film Photographic, and they asked me to be part of the shows they had. I'll be forever grateful for that.
That's really awesome, man.
Yeah. Like I said, to just kind of let it grow organically, not force it, and just be, who I am, just courteous and grateful to have these connections with these people. Like, it means a lot.
Well, that's honestly the best way to go about it. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you can't force it. And I think that's something that a lot of people tend to try when they get like caught up in the social media game.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a few years back, I was like desperate to get to 10K because I wanted to be able to share links. The only way you could do that is if you got to,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to get, now it's like everyone can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, it's kind of, they just opened all that shit. But it just,
later, Travis.
See you, Travis. Trying to get there, it made me sick of it, of the whole thing, because I was just like, oh, why am I not getting there? Like, what the hell? And then I was like almost tempted to like just buy like followers, because like,
right,
there's all those, there still are all those offers, and
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, fuck. Like, at some point, Instagram might crack down on that shit. And like, I've had this account for like 12 years now. Like, I don't want to lose it.
Right.
But I got like so sick of it. But then like when I started doing this, I didn't really care about it as much because,
Yeah.
you know, it didn't matter how many people I was following or how many people listen to this right now kind of thing. It was just
Yeah.
being able to talk to people and let them share their stories and learn more about them beyond like, you know, what's your favorite camera and what's your favorite like focal length
Right.
and, you know,
Yeah.
what film stock do you like? It was more of like a selfish project, I guess, because like, you know, it
Yeah.
started because of like COVID and I was like lonely at home and like couldn't
Right.
leave my house literally.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just like, well, I know all these photographers. I could like hassle one every week. Um, and now it's like, I think this might be like the 114th or 115th episode since the start.
Yeah. That's so great. I
And,
love that.
but it's just made me realize like follower count doesn't matter because like I've talked to like people like Jason and you know, Eric,
Yeah.
like Grainy Days, like people with like crazy
Yeah.
follower counts,
Yeah.
and then people with like 100 followers, just because like their
Yeah.
shit's really cool and they turn out to be really rad people.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so it's like follower count doesn't really matter sometimes, especially when like you see someone and their like photos are kind of like okay-ish, but they've got like 50,000 followers. It's like, yo, how much you pay for that? Like,
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and like you said too, like you know, getting to know these people a little bit better on this, and or but in general too, like on that platform. Yeah. Again, some of us are strangers physically, but like you know, commenting back and forth and just kind of motivating one another, like just like if I comment on your photo, and I mean, I'm sure others feel this way too. Is like it actually struck me. Like I, even if it's an emoji, I guess
yeah,
it's like, look, I really mean what I'm putting out there. Like, I really mean that you got a bullseye emoji. Like, that is an amazing photograph. Or you know, I'll write a little something, and I stand by that. Like, I'm not just trying to be like, oh yeah, here, you know, whatever. Like, I appreciate your work. Is what I'm telling you. You know, like,
yeah,
you know, there's a lot of, like you said, there's people with low follower counts and some with high, and I've also met tons of great photographers through this platform. And again, I think that it shouldn't, you know, for anybody that's looking to connect through photography, like this is a great platform and always will be. I know they keep trying to, you know, I'm sorry if you're coming to my profile for reels, it ain't happening. Like it's just not. Like I'm going to show you images. You know, might be just one, it might be a couple in a row. That's about it. I that's what I like to do, so that's what you're going to see. But I support people that are out there trying to get that notice. You know, some people just post different ways, but doesn't mean that their work's not as good.
yeah,
You know, there's I mean the photo community, Bob Price and Jen Wild running that. They're great. I got to meet them and hang out with them in Burt one day and shoot. It's great, man. Like just having those moments where, you know, the social media actually, you know, becomes physical and you
yeah,
see each other in person and stuff like it, you know, that's good stuff. The R City thing, the first film photographic show, like just going and being a part of that was just great. Like probably some of the top 5 moments of my life probably. And then we actually Ryan Ackerberg, who I think was in the chat a little while
yeah,
ago, we did in the north in San Francisco. We curated that together and got the lineup and got Jason's blessed me as the film photographic name. That was a great show too. That was so much fun. So to have this, you know, Zuckerberg product makes such a nice community of artists. Fantastic.
Well, I think it's more the people than it is the platform, honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I completely agree.
Because like when they've tried to change things in really big ways, the people push back on it, and we've kind of gotten what we want, which is really
I forget
interesting.
there was something like that. I forget what it was.
There was side scrolling that lasted like half a day.
Oh, okay.
And then there was something else recently that they were like, "Oh, we were just kidding around. Like that's not actually. It wasn't supposed to get released." And
well, yeah, I think I heard that they were like basically really going to switch it to like a TikTok style platform, and like kind of like the Discover page where it's just all this. And I know I was one of them. Like, don't do this. Don't. Like, I'm sending like a little message to their support desk, like I don't support this whatsoever or whatever. So.
And that's what makes this place beautiful is it's a community of people,
right?
Which kind of lends into a question here that who had it? Andrew is asking, what do you guys think about Grainery?
I haven't used it. I've looked at it. I don't even know if the app that they have is up and running completely yet.
It's a website.
I took a look at it and I thought it was interesting. I like the idea of, because I usually in my posts put the camera I use and the film I use, and maybe just a little bit about that mechanics of it, just because I feel like, it warrants that. This is what I'm using. You can use it too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about it other than that.
I sometimes put, if I remember what camera and film I used, I'll put it in like the hashtags or whatever. Which I think is cool sometimes. I just don't like how they've made it like mandatory on there. So it's like you can't upload unless you put that info in there. And like for some of my early shit, I'm like, fuck, I don't remember what film I used or what camera I even owned there. Like, I've cycled through so much gear in the last 6 years that I'm like, fuck.
I'm bad with film. I'm really bad with film. Like I'll forget what's in my camera like halfway through shooting the roll. I'm like, is this black and white or is it color? I can't even remember.
Oh, dude, I'm terrible. Like, I've basically committed to like I use my Nikon F5 or my F100. They both have 50mm lenses on them, and they have a little door that shows me what I'm shooting. And that way I don't forget. Because, even experimenting with films, I'd fuck around with, like, this expired film or, like, this, like, fucking weird film. And I'll just be like, fuck me. Like, what even is this? And then, like, especially the weird, funky films, I'm like, well, this would have been a cool picture if it wasn't shit blue all over the place. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I just like, am I becoming a grumpy old camera guy now?
I totally, I've been there. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I sound like Clint Eastwood sitting on a porch right now.
Exactly. So it's like, and now it's like I shoot Tri-X or double X for black and white and Portra 400 for color.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Then I don't have to remember anything.
Yeah. And Eric, the internet is an information superhighway that's free.
Well, ish. Is free-ish. You're surfing the web right now.
Yeah. There's always going to be, there's always a charge for something.
Computers can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back to like what you're saying, like I've had those moments where you're just like, oh, super grumpy about whatever, and then, try to shake that off, I guess.
Yeah. I've given away a lot of film because I bought it thinking like this would be really cool. And then I think about using it and I'm like, I don't want my pictures to look all fucked up. Like, and then I paid extra for them to look fucked up. Like, what the fuck? And I'm not shitting on people that like that kind of film. All the more power to them. But
I mean, we all have our preferences, is what it is. I mean, like we agree on Fujifilm. Um,
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, you like Tri-X, I like ep5. I mean, that's how it is. And,
Yeah, we can still be civil. If only the Republicans can learn that. No.
right. It's not that hard to reach across the aisle, people.
Yeah, you can hug someone and not burst into flames.
Yeah, it's super easy. But yeah, like I remember a couple months back talking to Jason. He was shooting a lot of Kodak 200, and I had never shot it. So I was like, oh, I'll like check out a few shops and see if I can order some or whatever. So I got like 4 rolls, I think, to start with, and shot them. And I was like, oh crap,
it's a nice film.
Amazing. Yeah, I hadn't really. I've always been in the 400 range, maybe some 800 back here or there. But yeah, I was like, this is really nice.
Eric
So
says just open your film back halfway through the roll to get the same effect. That's a pro tip right there. Yeah.
Dang, he's always smart with the tips. That's a good one. I remember my XA2 I was mentioning earlier. Like, I had it for like a month, and I like quickly went to go shoot a photograph, and I took it out of my pocket, and it shot out of my hand and landed on the ground, and the back of it opened up, and I was just like, picked it up, and I was like, please don't be broken. I'm looking at it. I was like, oh, it's fine. Slapped the thing back and just shot the roll. Yeah, some light peaks. It was fine.
I was teaching my niece and nephew how to shoot film in the summer, and I bought them those like Ilford reloadable plastic cameras. And my nephew's a bit of a spaz. Like, he's all energy, not a lot of brains behind it.
How old is he?
Like he's 5 going on, or 5.5 going on 6.
Yeah. That's that age. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's also like the CEO of Fuck Around and Find Out right now. Like, the boy's learning a lot of hard lessons that like he could make things a lot easier on him, but like he seems to like to learn the hard way. But he's all stoked about like the camera or whatever. And I hear him, he's going outside to play. And his mom's like, Noah, keep your camera inside. Because they have those little wrist straps on them. And he's like, yeah, Mom, it's okay. I got the wrist strap. And then like 2.5 minutes later, blood curdling, crying. And like, I'm like, what the fuck happened? And it's like, Noah was outside and he tripped and he smashed it on like a paver stone, and it opened up. And he's in his room bawling, and he's like, Uncle Merlin's going to hate me because I let all the pictures out the camera. I was like, no, bud, like, I don't hate you. Like, you didn't let the pictures out. You might have ruined a bunch, but it's kind of like, it's like art. Like, some of them, it might have like lightning bolts or like clouds on them and stuff. And he's like, I made art. And I'm like, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. He's like, cool. And he's all like stoked about it. And then he busted the tab off for latching it. So I have these like Merlin DB stickers. I cut one of them in half so I could like tape his camera back together so I could finish the roll. And this little fucker finishes the roll, and he comes like we finished that roll. I loaded him a new one. And then he comes back like later in the day, and he's like, look, I finished all the pictures, and he's got it open. And I'm like, buddy, no. And he's like, but I made art. And I'm like, dude, stop. Like, when you're done the roll of film, ask an adult to rewind it for you, and then like, you know.
That's great though. He's just giving it the old college try.
Oh, he's just giving her.
It's so good.
And then he kept like, he's got these tiny little arms because he's like 5. And he's like, selfie, and he like puts the disposable in front of him. But I'm like, bro, your arms are too short to be at the right focal distance to like, you know, have not blurry pictures.
You're like busting out the whiteboard and like drawing, like, this is focal length.
I'm trying to explain. I'm like, Noah, your arms are too short. If you want a selfie, get like mom or dad to do it for you. And he's like, no, it's fine. Selfie. And I'm like, how do you even know what a fucking selfie is? You're 5. Like, what? Like, this is more alarming to me anyways. Surprisingly, though, most of his little stubby arm selfies turned out pretty good. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So those Ilford cameras are 5-year-old survivable.
That's a good review right there.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, oh, how'd the pictures turn out that came out? Yeah, that's great.
Decent. Like, I mean, I love plastic cameras. Like, one of my favorite cameras is the Lomography simple reuse camera.
Oh yeah,
Like, this
yeah.
camera is fucking awesome. Like, and my favorite film to shoot in this camera, no bullshit, Cinestill 800T.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
It overexposes the film
Yeah.
a shit ton because it's meant for 400.
Okay,
But you get really cool street photos with it.
that's awesome.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
I just got some 400D of theirs, and I'm impressed.
it's nice.
I really like it. Yeah, I think they're doing great work.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, they're doing a good job of repackaging Kodak.
At an okay price, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't gouge too much on this one. So,
Yeah.
you know, they got to make some money in the middle. They keep teasing about making 4x5 of it, though, and it's like,
Oh wow,
that's so mean. They did a
there's
small
a lot
run.
of teasers out there. There's a lot of company teasers out there.
There is a lot of teasers out there. Like,
Yeah.
they did a small run of 800 in 4x5, and they let Cinedar got a few frames of it, Dave. And
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it was so nice. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
I'd really like them to make double X in 4x5.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I've shot that film a couple times.
It's beautiful.
Pretty awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, that's a thing that I really like about film over digital. It's like, sure, you can do simulations and run like filters or whatever,
Right.
but it's never quite the same. Like, no matter how hard you try, like, you know, the look of film is pretty unique.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been some shots that I've done. As we alluded to earlier about how I got involved with our city and stuff like that. And actually, to be honest, like I felt like I undershowed at that show. Like I should have picked some other photographs, but again, happy to be part of it. But yeah, I felt like ever since then it's been an evolution of my photography. I mean, like we mentioned, connecting with people on here, seeing great work and stuff kind of makes you think about what your perspectives are and how you like shooting. Playing with a few of those different styles of film, Kodak, Cinestill, and Ilford, and all those stuff. Like, you kind of start finding, like, oh, hey, a lot more images on this roll are speaking to me than just 2 or 3. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like you said, the look of it, like once you get it processed and see the images, it makes you feel different. It's not like, not like selfie with your phone. It's a little more than that. It's a little more romantic, I guess, would be a good word for it.
It is a bit more romantic, but I also think, like, some people shouldn't be so precious about it. Like some people get way too precious about it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I think that takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said earlier, I should have kept. I have a second refrigerator. Do I have film in it? No, because I want to shoot it. I want to shoot it and see what I can come up with and add to my collection of images that maybe one day I can publish or something. But it's meant to be fun.
It is meant to be fun. The only reason my film fridges are full is because, like, I have issues with ADD and object permanence, so I forget the film that I have in my fridge, and then I buy more film, and then I'm like, fuck, I already have so much film.
I really like that, though. That's really, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I think that's cool. Like, I really do.
It's a little frustrating because, like, I end up spending a bunch of money sometimes where I'm like, fuck, I already had a ton of this shit. Like, I didn't need to buy more. And And then, or I'll forget to use it, and I'll be like, man, I wish I had some of that film. And then, like, a few weeks later, I'll go in the fridge and be like, fuck, I had like 3 rolls of it. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, I almost need to make a list somewhere and put it up on like a whiteboard that I'll see every day to be like,
Yeah.
film to
It's
shoot.
like, oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
it's kind of shameful, but it's funny you said you may be undershowed. Like, I mean, you didn't want to like make Jason look bad in his own show, so I totally understand that.
Yeah, no, I remember looking through the images because we're supposed to shoot, like, you know, our city was supposed to be a representation of, you know, the Los Angeles area. And I actually, at the time, it kind of worked out because a friend of mine asked me to actually video his actor's reel, and he was in Santa Monica. So I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then all the rest of it was kind of coming together. So I shot like Venice Beach and Santa Monica area and stuff. And yeah, I look back at the photographs that I chose. Like, one of them was a old elderly couple sitting on a bench with the beach in front of them, palm tree. And I was actually shooting the P5, and the lens I was using, it's a 35 to 80 or something like that. It was my grandmother's lens, and I forgot that it's really loose, and I took the photo and it kind of soft focused on me, on the old couple, and that needed to be more in focus. The rest of it could have blurred a little. That would have been great. But yeah, it's just one of we're all our own worst critics.
Yeah.
And the fact when I saw it on the wall, I was just like, that wasn't the one.
I mean, they still, like, it looked great though.
Yeah, I mean, it did. It fit the show. I had another palm. I love palm trees. They're my favorite tree. And I had a nice black and white palms at Venice Beach to go with that, and they both fit. It fit the show. But yeah, like I said, we're our worst critics, and so like you kind of focus on that kind of stuff. But in hindsight, it was a great show. It was a great time. Talked to a lot of great people, and Extraordinary did an amazing job.
Yeah, I mean, the video is amazing, but Extraordinary, they just make stuff look really great.
Yeah, I love their Elbridge series they got going on right now, and yeah, it's great. Like we were talking about, it's great to connect with these people, and it just makes you strive to create more. And you know, I think you and I we commented on back and forth about a post. I don't know if you had it a few months ago or so, just kind of like mental well-being and creativity and stuff like that, and it's important to be in a good headspace, but also, you know, feel comfortable to create things like that.
Yeah, it really is important. Like, this is my outlet for that, and like, you know, a way that I process demons of sorts. And sometimes it's easier than others. Like, the last few months have been very much a struggle, just with like personal things going on. I haven't felt very creative, which has been frustrating because there's like a lot of things I want to do, but I just haven't been in the headspace to do them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, I definitely been there too. Like I mentioned before, like trying to start a digital career, like couldn't pick up my camera for years. Like, you know, you have to prioritize like what's important, and you know, I don't think I ever stopped thinking of images, even when I'm not shooting. Like, you know, I think we're all kind of like that. I know it goes back from skateboarding days. Like, it was like, oh, there's a handrail, or oh, there's a ledge. Like, oh, there's a spot, there's a spot, there's a spot. And I've taken that into photography all the way. So like, I'll see stuff and I'll be like, I might not have a camera, so I'm not the type of person that carries a camera on me at all times. It's just how I operate. I respect people that do that because they can grab those images, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to carry anything. I just want to be, and it kind of keeps the mind going in a creative aspect. We all get to those points where it's like, I need to take time for myself.
Well, it's important to like take time for yourself. I think a lot of us forget to do that these days. I usually carry around a camera with me, but I've noticed like the last couple of weeks I've been doing that less. Like I've still been working on the same role in my point and shoot for like a fucking month now. Like I need to get this fucker done because I got other roles waiting to be shipped down because of this little fucking son of a bitch.
Right. Yeah, I like I said, for instance, the Canon 81, I kind of sat down for a while and forgot about it, and then grabbed it. We went down to the Carmel by the Sea, California,
Nice.
the Monterey Bay area. My girlfriend loves the beach there and helps her decompress. And I love shooting it just because it's an interesting place to me. It's it's got all this Ritz and whatever, but like it's bohemian too. Like there's a lot of artists there. There's a lot of great information there, but also just like architecture, all that stuff. So I got a lot of shots. I hopefully can come up with a book on it or something.
That'd be cool.
I brought the 81 this time, and I shot this roll, and I had no idea what was in there. And then it turned out to be Ilford. I think it was Ilford ep45, and I was like, I don't even remember buying it. It had been months since I touched that camera. And then it also too, I don't really shoot like most of my focal lengths are like the X-A2 has its standard lens. Same with the Canonet, and the A1 had a 50 millimeter on it, and I hadn't shot in that focal length in a long time. And I got back the results, and I was like, oh wow, like some of these are pretty cool. Which I'll post some of those later, but it was kind of a nice experience to kind of just change it up a little bit, makes you think a little bit. I like that about photography.
I like 50 a lot. I think is my favorite one.
Okay.
Yeah, but hearing Jason talk about like 35 and 28, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should fuck around with one of those. I don't have.
Yeah, but 28 for it too. I was shooting that.
Nice.
On the AU1 for a minute too, and it definitely gives a unique perspective as well. But I think that I don't know. I guess it's kind of like 28 and 35 and stuff. Like it reminds me of the skateboarder's focal length, like a skateboard photographer's focal length, and I think that's kind of where I like just comfortable with. I can't remember the last time I shot like over 80.
Yeah, I think like the last time I used a non-50, I was doing a lot of like graffiti and like art shooting in Toronto, like street stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I had this lens. It was a 28 to 105. And it also had this like macro mode on it, which was
cool.
Kind of crazy because like you could activate the macro while you were zooming, and it would like still kind of work. Like you're not supposed to use it that way, but like I kind of found it worked well that way. But on my F5, it looked like a weapon, and I would like pick it up to shoot, especially if I had like the telephoto out. Like it just, I noticed people were like, "Why is this brown dude pointing this massive thing at my face?" And I was like, I'm probably going to get arrested if I keep using this in the public. So I switched to the 50 for my own safety.
Smart.
But it's like, now that's why I've been thinking about maybe buying a Leica, is just to have something smaller,
Yeah.
for the streets. I'm like, I get the appeal of this now, and
Right.
it's just the money. They're so expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been lucky enough to just hold one for a little bit in the store or whatever. Like, there, it's the, whatever you want to call it, Mercedes or Ferrari and whatever camera.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
that's
like a Bentley, because they're just so smooth and like effortless, and I don't know, they're nice. I didn't understand what the total draw and appeal was until I used one for a while. A friend loaned me an M3, and I was like, this is really nice. I get it now. I was also a little like, fuck, now I like want to buy one. It's like, I wish it,
like,
it was
lot, man.
Kind of. I was like, I wish they remained elusive to me, and I was like, whatever, these are just for douchebags. It was like, now I want to be one of those douchebags.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like I mentioned in Carmel, like I'll see people with cameras and stuff like that. Most of them, like they're like a digitals, and I'm just like, right. I'm just gonna stick with what I got here. Sometimes I'll get like some interaction with people. They're like, oh, that's a cool, like, when I was shooting with the Canonet, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, it's a film camera. Oh, it's film? Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't know you could buy that anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every time.
Yes, it's you can still get it. You can even order it on Amazon if you wanted to, sir.
Yeah, if you want to bend over pretty hardcore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Film on Amazon is not cheap.
Nope.
And I bet dollars to donuts, it's all abused as fuck. Like, I've never wanted to buy film off of Amazon. I've just never trusted it.
Good. I like your style there. Yeah. I mean, we all have it for the convenience or whatever, but like, I feel dirty sometimes.
Oh, I do. I feel dirty all the time. Quick.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. I swore off Amazon until the fucking pandemic happened, and then it's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever, I'll deep throat that Bezos-ness. Like, if I don't have to like see people, perfect. Like, I just put this on the computer and it's like here tomorrow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Just, don't look at me when you drop it off. Yeah.
Just leave it on the doorstep. Get the hell out of here.
No eye contact. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the return policy is also kind of amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Eric says Amazon stores their film on the same card as the dildos in their warehouse.
Eric's really crushing it with the comments in this.
Dude, you're killing it.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. The big ones, the little ones, the little rabbits, whatever floats their boat, there's just rolls of film in between there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe it.
Just jamming them in the open spaces.
Exactly.
Eric, I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to hang out when I was down there, but next time for sure.
Oh yeah, Eric's a good hang for sure.
I appreciate Eric a lot. There's a lot of good dudes, a lot of great people in the film photography community, and I feel really lucky to have met a few of them.
Yeah, same here. That's, again, like, anytime I get to like talk with someone face to face or this or whatever it is, like, that generally likes what we're doing, like, it's just fun. It's just great to get around like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Helps with brain power, I think.
Well, it helps with the brain power, and then just also like just being able to share. Like, it's I think it's really important to share.
I agree. Like you said too, with the pandemic and stuff, like you thought, like, oh, I could probably put this together, and I mean, that's huge. Like you said, sharing is huge. You can't lose that. I think there's a lot of disconnect daily
Mhm.
with people, whether it be they go to work and kind of get in that. My dad would say the hamster wheel. You
Yeah.
just kind of keep going, but that also includes social media. So imagine a hamster holding a cell phone, scrolling Facebook as they're trying to run. Like that's kind of like what I picture, and like people, they're not afraid to say whatever to whoever, even if you know them. Like, and that's just wrong. Like,
I
why can't
mean,
you have like a real
Connie
conversation?
Connie is a great example of that.
Yes, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it like we need to get back to communicating face to face or
Yeah.
talking things out. I'm a firm believer of that.
100%. Like we need to get more of that. And also people sharing differing opinions. Like
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing that, one group of people feels a different way from another group of people. Unless it's like something hateful or like,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's important to like be able to have conversations where you can use like critical thinking and things like that to like, open each other's minds up, because like,
Yeah.
if you can have like a fruitful conversation, then like maybe everyone learns something or someone learns why this one view is not a great view. And I think we're just lacking a lot of that sort of critical thinking now. Like it's kind of scary to see that like something that just seems so common sense is vanishing quickly.
Yeah, I completely agree. Where's Ray Graffin? He was supposed to check in on this with us.
I mean, that would have been. I didn't realize he was a photographer until I looked at his.
Yeah, I was
his
looking
thing.
at it. Yeah,
I was like,
man,
holy shit, he's got some cool photos.
that's awesome. Yeah,
I sent
some
him a
good stuff on
DM
there.
and I was like, hey, you'll probably never see this, but I do this photo chat thing. Would you like to do an episode sometime? I didn't realize you're a photographer. So.
Oh man, that'd be so rad.
It'd be kind of amazing. Bad Religion is like my second favorite punk band.
Yeah.
You can probably guess which the first one is.
Me. Yeah. I'm actually I'm seeing AFI next Wednesday.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that, actually. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
As soon as you said that, I had that one song. Dun, dun, ch, bum, 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 ch. Well, I can't remember the name of it now. I haven't listened to AFI in a minute. I have to listen to that on
I picked them up. Bad Brains also.
Ooh, Bad Brains is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I picked them back up. Like, so I came into AFI at Art of Drowning, which is Days of the Phoenix, and those great songs on that album. And then Sing the Sorrow came out, and like,
yeah, Sing the Sorrow, that's the one.
Yeah. Which is a great album. And I remember like, East Bay Hardcore Punk, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, and I remember kind of being like, I don't know, just being young and dumb and just being like, oh, like, this is a great album. Like, hopefully they don't sell out. They're getting played on MTV, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to a show during that tour, and it was horrible. Like, the sound was bad. It was in a bad venue. The kids were all doing from the video, the like slam, the karate, shadow dancing, I think they called it, or something. And I remember like some kid, like, I was just standing there like talking to my friend, like looking this way, and this kid like flew into me, like his fist went into my hip super hard. Like I was like, oh, like, and I was just pissed. And I like grabbed him by his shirt and the back of his belt, and I threw him into the pit, like just. And then so I was like, oh, it's my aunt. Hi, Aunt Laura.
Is that Auntie Laura?
When December Underground came out, and like, you get influenced by your other friends, and some of them were like more into punk than I was at the time. They're like, oh, they sold out. So I was like, oh, okay, I just don't listen to them anymore. That's how that works. And then I picked them back up like but I was working at my friend's company in 2016, so that's a pretty big gap. So I was like, I don't know what came over me. I was just like, oh, I will stay if I want. I put on some of the old stuff. And it's like, oh, this is cool. And then it's like a few other newer albums. I'm like, man, what did I do? Like, I stopped listening to these guys. This is incredible. And so yeah, I picked them up back heavily, and the new album's pretty cool. Like I like, they always pull a different direction, and I always think that's really cool to try in music. And you know, whatever genre they're classified as, or what they would classify them as, is probably, you know, they don't even know. So you know, people classify them as a punk band because of the old stuff. They probably don't even know how to classify them now. Yeah, another band that, you know, growing up just ripped, and now they're back on tour, and I'll get to see them again for the second time. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm gonna sneak in the XA2 with some Ilford loaded up, and hopefully get some good shots of Davey Havoc and the guys, man.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now I've got to listen to that on the way home tonight.
Definitely, yeah. And check out if you're interested in something a little different. Davey Havoc and Jade have a side project called Black Audio.
Black Audio?
It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like BLAQK audio. Yeah. It's like goth club music. That's the only way I can really describe it. But it's cool because it's Davey. You know, Davey's a great lyricist, and I think it slaps, as the kids say.
It's Liddy or like Gucci or Gooch.
Yeah.
I feel so fucking old when I hear like that kind of shit. I'm like, the fuck now? Like, Eric said earlier that TikTok is the devil, but I don't disagree with him. I'm a little addicted to it though. And I've been getting a kick out of like, Blink 182 is like announcing their tours right now. And so there's all these fucking, where are you memes going on.
I like that. That's awesome. Yeah.
And that shit is hilarious. Someone like programmed their kid to like fucking sing the rest of it when they said it. So it's like the mom's in the kitchen and they're like, where are you?
Yeah.
And then like the kid's in another room is like, and I'm so sorry.
I
like,
love that.
All that emo shit fucking kills me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well,
like, that's funny too, because like, yeah, they're, you know, we've talked about stuff coming back in full circle, so they're like back.
Yeah.
Mars Volta and Sparta that were at the drive-in, they both came out with new albums again, like around the same time as, and I like both of those groups too. And then come to find out, like I was looking for more Jim Ward content. He's the lead singer and founder of Sparta, and he was on like Your Emo Sucks podcast or something like that. And I was like, oh, this looks interesting, and I never thought of Sparta as emo, and then they're classified emo.
They're totally emo.
Like, oh, I guess I did listen to some emo.
A friend of mine posted some old photos from like, I think this is like 1999. This is little punk emo me from 1999.
Oh, that's rad. What sweatshirt are you wearing?
Can't
see it.
I don't even want to fucking say because it's so embarrassing.
I'm sure I got something.
It was this brand that was around for like a minute in the 90s called Sex, SEKS.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then those are Ocean Pacific cargo pants. Yeah.
Yes.
With a chain that I had bought from the hardware store. And not seen in the photo, but definitely on me at this time is the matching chain around my neck with a valid rabies tag that I'd stolen from a vet clinic that I did the floors on once a week.
Nice.
And then the matching one, also chain from the hardware store that was on my wrist, which I noticed the chrome was coming off of it. And I'm like, where's it going if it's not there? I guess it's going inside of me. And then I was like, maybe I should stop wearing this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. And then like
That's awesome though.
I had a chin strap because I like Bam Margera back then.
Yeah.
Oh man. Like, yeah.
Oh, those are great videos too. CKY.
Oh dude, those videos were so great. Like,
yeah, loved them.
Yeah. Before they got all fucked up.
Yeah. Crazy how like yeah, no, I have probably some photos somewhere of me with a similar, you know, kind of a little embarrassing. Like I remember Green Day's American Idiot came out, and that like had a profound impact on a few of us. And I used to wait tables.
Yeah.
I decided I would wear my kind of punk studded belt and eyeliner.
Oh.
So there's an embarrassing thing from me. Yeah, I was trying to look like Billy Joe, skinny tie, because they had to wear white shirt
and skinny tie.
And, yeah, so like I like found some Green Day like skinny ties, and it's like, yeah, that's the establishment, blah blah blah. And like, meanwhile, it's like pop punk. It's kind of funny.
I mean, they did a good job of like getting people into punk though, because like they were like gateway punk
for sure.
Because you're like, oh, what's this Green Day, and you kind of scratch the surface a little bit, and then like you kind of fall down the rabbit hole and like get into like some harder punk, and then you're listening to Guttermouth and questioning life and
yeah, oh definitely, I fell down that rabbit hole hard. No, I mean with the pandemic and stuff, I actually got back into punk rock more than I used to listen to it. I was kind of more of a rock guy, and I got back into it pretty good. And it's like, this is perfect right now. Like this is going to get me through the pandemic and these crazy times. And yeah, it's a great outlet, I think.
It absolutely is. Like, I never really got out of it. I think that's been like,
I don't think it probably left me. I just didn't listen to it as much.
I still listen to it plenty. I think that's like part of the problem when I'm meeting new people. Is they're like, you really don't act your age, do you? I'm like, whatever. I'm still 20. Fuck you.
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, why are you still wearing skate t-shirts and skate shoes?
Yeah.
You don't even skateboard. Yeah. It's like, I have one. I'll ride it, and you'll feel really bad for me when I fuck myself up.
I'm wearing Lakai's right now. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I have wide feet, so it's like I found out years ago that the S XL OGs are like, those are my fit. Like, always have been. I've been wearing those shoes for like over 25 years now. Like, it's
that's one of those few times where I'll actually use the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right? Yeah, and then like I had one girlfriend, she's like, when are you gonna grow the fuck up and wear adult shoes? I'm like, what are you talking about? These are plenty adult. She's like, yeah, if you're like a 14-year-old child. They're like, yeah, we're not gonna work out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I specifically find, like, for my job, like, it's business casual, but like I specifically find like skate brands or something that are like, they're all black so you can't really see, or like they look dressy enough because they're comfortable. Like, I'm gonna be working 8 hours a day, like, I'm gonna wear comfortable shoes. So
exactly. Yeah, and like I haven't hit that age yet where I feel like I can take myself seriously in New Balance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw some clip somewhere of like, it was like a Ryan Gosling movie with Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where he's like, "What are you wearing?" He's like, "Oh, these are my New Balances." He's like, "Well, you Steve Jobs?"
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit was funny.
It's funny too, because like I see like that kind of come up with certain people, like, oh, hey, I'm checking out these like New Balance shoes or whatever. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's either they're there to that age and I'm like, oh, it's okay, or I'm like, you're much younger than me. Why would you wear those on I think this is ironic, so I'm not going to give you the vote of confidence in that.
Don't
I think you're doing it in a mocking way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unless you're like a young dad or something and you're really like
Right.
getting into the dad life with like the high socks and like the
What's up, Elias? My buddy from 5th grade joining us.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's style's an interesting thing.
Yeah. I've been through a bunch of different, like, you showed me that picture, like we've all been through different phases of, and then stuff again comes back around and you're like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I might purchase that, or you're like, oh, I never wanted to see that again.
Yeah, I had a khaki phase for a while with like Mark's Work Warehouse, like, button ups and like ties, because I thought I needed that. I thought that's what growing up meant.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't great. It was like Al Borland in a tie. Like I just, I look.
Well, we're like so influenced by, especially if you like generally like feel like you like idolize or like that person. Like the khaki base for me was because I was a huge Mike Carroll fan skateboarding, and so like I remember I want to say it was Chocolate Tool. It was the girl chocolate skateboard video, and like he was rocking khakis like full part. And I was like, Mom, I need khakis. So I bought a bunch of khakis. And, like, I want to be like Mike Carroll. I want to look cool, It's how it is. You see certain things that's just like, oh, that looks good. I want that. It's where they get us, man. Consumerism.
They do. I still have some khakis for when I have to get dressed fancy for work, but my little fuck you with them is I've got 2 like tan khakis that are Volcoms and then 1 navy blue that are DCs.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not growing up yet, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I've had a few coworkers notice that. They're like, huh.
Yeah.
Nice khakis. And I'm like,
yeah, two pairs that I wear to work are Volcom.
Yeah. They make
and
nice
if you
pants.
don't know that, they do. And if you don't know that cut line on the back side of it, like you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Well, and then they've got that like kind of the logo on your like thigh, on the calf there.
Yeah.
A
little sneaky.
It's a little bit sneaky, but like the shoes, I also discovered there's like a specific jean that Volcom makes that just fits me really well and is very comfortable. So it's nice. Like I've bought like 4 or 5 pairs of those, and I'm just like, yeah, these are my jeans now.
Volcom, if you're listening,
yeah, hit me up.
Needs to hook up sponsorship.
This is my sponsor me video.
Yeah. He's creative. Like, doesn't mean he doesn't need jeans.
Yeah, I'll come take pictures of your skateboarders. Hit me up.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take pictures of your family, like whatever. Blackmail photos. Yep. Hit me up.
That's right. They should sponsor more artists.
They should.
Or the blackmail happens. Yeah.
Yeah, or the blackmail happens. It's like, yo, I got pictures of you wearing Vans. You want that to get back to work? I don't think so. Yeah. It's like, that's obviously photoshopped. It's like, whatever. Can't blame a guy for trying.
Right. Yeah. Just trying to get some jeans. That's it.
Exactly. Well, dude, it's been so rad chatting with you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, same, man.
Spending some time with me after work. I imagine, like, after a long work day, you just want to relax. So,
I was just actually looking forward to this, to be honest, just getting through my work day. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go home, jump on this. This will be great. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to give you one of these then for you coming out. Yeah, go Matt. Just a little.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, it's been so rad hanging out with you. And next time I'm down stateside, Really hope we can
Yeah.
get together. And dude, anytime you're thinking of coming up to Canada, let me know.
I will.
Yeah.
100%.
And-
That'd be rad. I'd love to check it out up there. And yeah, if you're coming to the San Francisco area, that's not far from me, so we can definitely meet up.
I will definitely be there for Polacombe area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will see you there.
Dude, come on out. So I'm going to let Mr. Mocha walk us out here. And dude, thank you so much again. It was a lot of fun chatting with you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Next week, I'm going to have Marion Freed from Paris on with us. It's going to be an earlier stream because she's in a different part of the world. So that'll be like a noon lunchtime stream in Pacific. But should be fun.
Hey, good night, Andrew. Thanks.
Good night,
for
everyone.
checking it out.
Thanks for hanging
Thanks,
out
man.
with us. And dude, thank you so much again.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Take care out there.
All right, bye.
Bye.